So we continue with our interesting things we have been doing. I know, people. We've been analyzing so much things. So today, as we look at how Klopp's boys came from about to be champions, longest time on top of the league, to totally be out of the competition, now finishing, I think, 8 points behind the champions, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, or 10, I don't know, is it 8 or 10 points behind the champions? There is something that has went wrong. No, it's 9 points behind the champions. So there's something wrong that went wrong with Liverpool in the competition at the end of the competition, which did not go wrong in terms of how the season started or in terms of how they approached the game. So I'm gonna try to make sense of it, and I wanna hear your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think was wrong with Liverpool? Why did they drop from where they were to how the season has come to be now at the very end, and how can they improve? So do me a favor, click that like button, subscribe to the Connect, and I will give you my thoughts over what happened to my team to not actually manage to get to that finishing line that we hope they could. Here is how Liverpool's season review went on like. So let's get into the video. So we started a season which we were coming from a terrible one, and there were a lot of things that needed to change. And so many people, after what we did, we finished number 5 after trying to salvage something out of a season which was really, really terrible. Pep Linders has now just come out and talked about how he was able to convince Klopp that Trent Alexander-Arnold would thrive being in the middle, which, by the way, is exactly what saved us in this season, because there was something that they were talking about, that Bobby Firmino was always known for being the guy, being the equalizer, the guy who got Liverpool that victory, being the guy who comes in the midfield to help out the team, helping also other midfielders to drop down whenever it comes to defense. When Trent Alexander-Arnold is on attack mode, usually with Sid Henderson, and somehow that's why Trent Alexander-Arnold was always perfect, because he had somebody to cover in. Bobby Firmino always knew how to add the number in the midfield and allow Salah and Mane to become those attacking wingers who were going inside the pitch to help out. But now buying Darwin Núñez, a guy who cannot do that. Cody Gakpo tries, but not to the level that Bobby did. Bobby was a defender as an attacker, a real defender as an attacker. That's why every single time when you ask Klopp, what is your recipe for a success, he always say by Bobby Firmino, because he was the equalizer. You can see that this type of a player who is very important. We can see that in Kai Havertz now in Arsenal. He is the player that has made them successful this season more than any other season. We'll talk about that. I will only do the final season review of everything. But anyway, let's get into the video. So Liverpool started in a season in a high, all-time high. Trent Alexander-Arnold enjoying not really being going into the midfield, but coming in and becoming part of between the midfields as well as the defense, being the quarterback that people talks about, distributing the ball with his legs from left to right, being in the middle of Konate and Van Dijk, or maybe Konza and Van Dijk. Why, by the way, Konza, what a season, by the way. And he was the most important player, helping the strike force in terms of getting those long balls, being important in finishing. I saw Salah doing what we are used to seeing, finishing the chances he gets, helping the team to get more as they go forward. And I thought it was a good season for him. I thought it could have gone too far. That's why Liverpool on top. Of course, we had situations like the Tottenham Hotspurs, where referees decided to re-referee the game and made us and costed us some goals. We also had the Arsenal season where we saw Martin Odegaard literally playing basketball in the game, and we lost some points, as well as the Man City game where we saw Doku playing karate in the game, and somehow there were no penalties. So many things has happened that we lost so many points. I think 20% of the points that Liverpool should have gotten were taken away from them by VAR, which is something that even the VAR community did actually accept and say, yes, this is the reason why we found ourselves here. Yet, hence why Wolves want this VAR to be cut off. But Klopp did not want to dwell on that, because we were going on the title race. We were going into the title race. The first half, after 19 games which were played, Liverpool finished with 42 points, the higher than Arsenal and Man City, who, by the way, had 40 points. And it felt like, okay, This is a different Liverpool who expected them to actually be there. They were challenging, they were in the top of their mind, they were going. Salah was scoring. Darwin Núñez, as much as he was missing, he was also scoring because and also assisting. He was the first forward to actually have 10 assists as well as 10 goals, if I'm not mistaken, in no competition. And people thought that, oh, the future is bright for this guy, even though there are so many misses. What season is he going to have? How would this actually unveil? And what exactly can this Liverpool achieve at the end of the day? We started seeing Klopp doing some interesting things, bringing players like Gerard Konza, by the way, one of the best rookies of the season. He came in and he became so important to this Liverpool squad, showing up, being the guy, being the difference maker, being the decider, everything that Liverpool needed. He was the guy. He made sure that this team was ticking, helping Van Dijk in terms of what he was learning under the leadership of Virgil van Dijk. By the way, Virgil van Dijk coming back, and he was an important player, really, because we saw some changes. We saw him being the Virgil van Dijk we knew back before the ACL injury, and it was amazing. We were having an amazing season. Alisson got an injury. Gallagher came in, and Gallagher took that center stage, even though there were goals being scored because of the mistakes of the defense, but he stood up. We saw what he was capable of doing in that Carabao Cup final against Chelsea, being the difference maker, not allowing Chelsea even a chance, even a peep of the goal of the Liverpool. They were playing so well, outside of their skin, standing up, showing that they can do something. And the things even became a bit more emotional in the game, and I feel like that's where the turnaround of the season began, actually, when I think it was the 17th of January, when Klopp came out and said that he'll be leaving Liverpool. And that was a shock of a season, hearing that, what, the guy who gave this Liverpool the belief, the guy who has been putting, he said that he was running out of energy. It took time for us to recover from that, but we had to accept it. This is our main manager. This is Jurgen Klopp. Come on. The guy was helped to achieve so much. So whatever he says, we were always going to respect him, because he is, you know what, Jurgen Klopp. And we thought this could help us. So many rivals side if we came out with hashtag do it for Klopp, and it started the trend to put so much pressure on the boys. And I'm telling you, the injuries came by. Jota got injured, Salah got injured, going to the AFCON, as well as so many players starting to go out of their position. Darwin Núñez got injured as well. Cody Gakpo was injured. So many players went out, and when they started coming, Dominic Szoboszlai got an injury, came back. He was no longer the same player that started the season. Maka got an injury, came back. It's still the same, but not really that pivotal. Wataru Endo, by the way, a seasoned pro, a player that nobody expected him to be, came in and he was the player, he was the guy, but he lost it as the season continued. And I'm like, okay, we can still salvage something. We went until 7 games were left. 7 games were left for Liverpool to win the league. Everything in their hands. Arsenal just went to play Man City. It was a draw, and I'm like, as much as this team does not look so good, players are coming back, can we just finish this last minutes of the games? Then the theater of nightmares came about. That Manchester United game, for me, it was the change, or it was the turnaround of everything for Liverpool. I do believe everything that they did, everything that they built up into the season, going into, fighting for, actually achieving to, all died at Old Trafford, because I remember we lost at the FA Cup for the 3-4 in one of the game, which ended up as a basketball match. I thought we had won it at 103 in the extra time, where it should not have went, because we created so many chances. But the problem with the Liverpool is that we were not finishing our chances, and that's where we were costed. And Klopp was afraid of making those bold decision of putting the youngsters out there, because the theater of nightmares were really up Old Trafford with that team. They were making noise. They were all over. They were against Liverpool, and we crumbled. in the hands of pressure, a club that knew Klopp was going for his last season, we could win something. We crumbled and we went out of our first trophy of the quadruple. Then the second time we played them as well, I think 2 weeks later, we went and we drew 2-2 in a crazy thing where Kelkonza literally passed the ball to Fernandez, which I don't want to put pressure on the kid. And they scored because Gallagher was not on the go. And it ended up 2-2 because Kobe Miner scored after that. And we actually had to try to survive to come back into the game. Then we played the games that were left. We lost so many games. It was no longer the same Liverpool, to be honest, because after that, there were so many games which were played. After the FA Cup Liverpool, FA Cup 4-3, we win against Brighton 2-1. We beat Sheffield by 3-0. I thought everything was good. Draw with the United 2-2. After the United, we were beaten by Atalanta by 3-0. Beaten by Crystal Palace by 1-0. Atalanta beat us again, but we beat Atalanta by 1-0, but did not help because we are out of the Europa competition as well. Beat Fulham by 3-1. Everton beat us by 2-0. West Ham drew 2-2. Tottenham Hotspurs, we beat them by 4-2. Then Aston Villa, we drew 3-3. Wolves was the last game, but by then it was already done. We were out of the competition. It came out so fast. We went from believing to literally silent to some people abusing some players or online because they were afraid of what was happening, which I actually had to come out and stand by. Go watch my videos. I said, no, we cannot abuse our players online. We have to stand by them in these moments because even in the times when we do something, we are always together. But now it is a time we're crumbling. Remember, this was Liverpool 2.0. It's not like the Sadio Mane, the Firmino, the players we were used to, the guys who could fight to the very end. This is a new, different team that still has to find their belief. Remember the first time in 2019, the Sadio Mane team as well, those Gini Ronaldo did drop some points which costed us in the title race against Man City. So I felt like at that point, this was the first time for the Liverpool 2.0, the Klopp's 2.0 team, and I felt like they could recover from that, but no longer in the hands of Jurgen Klopp. Because like I said, in January, he announced that he was leaving the team. And I still believe up to now that that's where we literally lost the league. And from then, trying to find everything mentality-wise, we were going physical-wise. The players were just no longer there. The guy who was a goal threat, the guy we could trust as the goal scorer was always injured in Diogo Jota. It never looked the same. It was no longer the same Liverpool, which was very, very painful. But we learned something out of these kids. We learned something out of this team, that this is a team that if they get a good trainer, they get the good manager who can instill their philosophy and help them in defense. Because I felt like we were leaking at some points. We were asking too much of Virgil van Dijk, asking too much of the goalkeeper Gallagher or even Alisson. But then the most of the time it was Gallagher. We did everything we could. They did everything they could, and I have to tell you, as much as the last games were just vibes FC, I felt like then the final nail in the coffin was the Everton game. That was it. It was over. So many people laughed about it, said whatever they want, but I knew from that game that we were done. We were done. The season was over, and we learned from that. That's the only thing I can tell you, people. It is a process of learning, and I think we have to learn from that because everything we had it all came crumbling down, and it did at the wrong time. The theater of dreams, or the theater of the hell for us, we dropped our first points after such a long time, even though the Arsenal game, but the Arsenal game, it was full of mistakes. I never believed that it was going to affect us, but the theater of nightmares for me, of all the games we played, I felt like that was it. I felt like that was it. I knew that we were out, and Everton just put the final nail in the coffin, and that was it. So what do we learn from this? I learned that there is a team in Liverpool. There is a team that can do amazing stuff, that can achieve so much if they are given the belief, if they are given the trust that they need to be given. I saw that we can go far. I saw this is a good team, a few players here and there, and I'm telling you, we could even be better than what we are. And I saw that we can still improve. We can still do better. And I saw that it's just we were not at the league of Arsenal and City, but we can get there. But now it's no longer in the hands of our manager, the guy who we have come to call the normal one. We had to say goodbye to the legend. We had to say goodbye to Jurgen Klopp and say hello to Onslaught. A new season indeed. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What did you think of Liverpool's season as a whole, and what did you really thought of them going forward and what they achieved at the very end? Did they really live up to expectation, or to your own belief, your own wishes? Because I felt like we fell through when we were going into the season, but I think we learned so much out of this team. It was an amazing moment, an amazing time to be a Liverpool fan. We supported, we were robbed, we got angry, we shouted at the VAR, and we found ourselves back again supporting it, as well as maybe some of the points you say, oh, I think VAR gave us an opportunity there. It was just an amazing moment, but it was an amazing that we were there and we could grow from it. Thank you very much for watching. Being your host, Sam. I'll see you on another one. Remember, I told you we are continuing. We just finished the first 3 clubs. Let's see what happens as we talk about Aston Villa with the Wonder season tomorrow. I'm excited. Click the like button. Subscribe to the Connect. This is the season review of Liverpool. Let me hear what your thoughts are in the comment section. I'm out. Peace. Subscribe to the Connect. We out. Peace. See me on the other side.